Officer shot at Brook Street and Broadway in Louisville. And it's only 8:30 p.m, tonight will be fucked in Louisville. Things like this tend to make most people go home. When the bullets start flying, most people get spooked and leave. The streets are already empty. Only Louisville. This is going to have a chain reaction towards other places. People are pissed and they need to release that somehow. Predictions for tonight? It's not even midnight and allegedly 2 officers have been shot by protesters. I imagine skulls are going to be cracked for this. Asterisk unclear if protesters, we'll see soon when more info emerges. Well, I'm going to have to tune out on this story for a good 24 hours. There's always a shit show of disinformation before the facts come together. Here. On Reddit. No. Sucks because by the time you start tuning in again to get informed, you end up having to watch sometimes multiple violent videos of people getting shot to try to make up your own mind about what happened. It's so unhealthy, and there's always more people who have obsessively watched and can spot every single detail then argue incessantly about it. That's, actually a very good idea. I think everyone should wait 24 hours before they act on a story. But let's go with the first story I see when a black man gets shot by police. Let me be clear, this is a bad situation and shooting random cops is not the answer that is going to make it better. That said, hearing condemnations of the protesters from the right wing seems pretty tone deaf. Isn't shooting at a government you believe to be tyrannical basically the whole point behind the 2A that the right wing touts all the time? Guess what? The 2A doesn't come with any qualifications on when that line is crossed, so if you get to play arbiter on when that line is crossed, so does everyone else. Police work for the government yet those same people you're talking about support a comply or die society lol. They preached about this shit for decades, and now that it comes to fruition the pearl clutching commences. They didn't actually want to fight the state, they just want to be allowed to shoot left-wing politicians and minorities. Okay, think this through for more than 30 seconds. You are saying anyone should just be able to decide what tyranny is to them and it justified killing people. That's really what you are arguing for? Nice try. The issue here is that what you are essentially saying is that these people are engaging in sedition and should be now treated as enemy combatants of the state. Not sure that your side wants that. To them, 2A only applies when shooting and intimidating non-whites. The majority of the gun rights crowd are a bunch of bigots. A minority are actually principled. Honestly, I hear what you're saying but the vast majority of 2A people are people you don't hear from because they're law-abiding and part of that is not brandishing your weapons or making a big deal of them, true, self-defense purpose type people. The loud and backward 2A folks you talk about are the very vocal minority of firearm-owning Americans. But you gotta learn to hear yourself and understand when you're making broad statements about a group of people you most likely don't understand, just like the types of people you're condemning. Be better. Honestly, I hear what you're saying but the vast majority of 2A people are people you don't hear from because they're law-abiding and part of that is not brandishing your weapons or making a big deal of them, true, self-defense purpose type people. Maybe it's because I'm in Texas but this absolutely has not been my experience. Most of the true self-defense purpose type people are terrified of brown people in the night, even if they won't just come out and say it. So much of self-defense fetish is driven by race-based hysteria it's not even funny. But you gotta learn to hear yourself and understand when you're making broad statements about a group of people you most likely don't understand, just like the types of people you're condemning. Be better. I'm a gun owner and avid shooter. I'm speaking from my own experience speaking with other gun owners. This isn't just assumption based on nothing at all. I'm in Texas too and know more gun-owning Democrats than Republicans. The gun owners I know fit his description, myself included. Of course this depends a ton of where in Texas you live since it's such a massive state. Holy fucking shit. No. The 2A is not some free pass to go fucking murder innocent cops. What the fuck? This is the dumbest comment on Reddit I've ever seen, and I've been using Reddit for 10 plus years now. Yikes. They such a dishonest fucking take. This was attempted murder. Read the fucking facts or give yourself a less headache because you're just spreading bullshit. The people who spout about the 2A don't actually give a shit about what the 2A even stands for. They just want guns. If they cared about the 2A, they wouldn't be cheering for the side of the tyrannical government going up against protesters. Sorry, but the chief prosecutor not charging the officers involved in Ms. Taylor's death the way protesters want is not tyrannical. This was an evidence-based ruling. It'd be nice if there was a way to confirm this, but grand juries take place behind closed doors, so we'll just take this one justice system functionary's word that he tried really hard to get these officers to see their day in court. It's not meant for protesters, LMAO. Have you read it? It says it's for a militia to protect from a tyrannical government, aka police. Thomas Jefferson would be proud. United States. I've read not only the letter of the amendment, but commentaries by some of its framers. Defense of self and property was always part of the intended purpose of protecting the right to arms. I wonder what Breonna Taylor and Kenneth Walker think of that. Clearly they thought that it was a good idea to attempt to murder a police officer serving a valid search warrant. The Second Amendment is exactly about shooting at an oppressive/tyrannical government, not self-defense from common criminals. I'm not sure how you would even begin to think otherwise unless you skipped most of your American history classes. You're speaking out both sides of your mouth. Do people who shoot random cops deserve condemnation or not? It's almost like the 2A types were always just concerned about maintaining white rule in the US. There's a reason that a moderate like Obama still made a certain section of this country lose their fucking minds. Not when it's your tyrannical government that's doing it. Oh fuck, that's true. I truly hope no one shoots any walls. You can get in trouble for that kind of thing. It's not government tyranny when a group of people is sectioning off portions of cities and saying it's no longer US soil, burning houses and buildings, attacking random people, looting stores and private businesses, and vandalizing war memorials, such as a memorial to an all-black WW2 squadron that got red paint thrown on it. That's just criminal activity being met by people enforcing the laws. Government tyranny is cops showing up to a peaceful protest and shooting tear gas into the crowd. At that point your rights are being violated, and you can respond accordingly. This isn't a peaceful protest, and thus your comment does not apply. I do love how you guys constantly vote for more gun control and shit on gun owners, then when stuff like this happens you go, where are the gun guys now? Government tyranny is cops showing up to a peaceful protest and shooting tear gas into the crowd. At that point your rights are being violated, and you can respond accordingly. This isn't a peaceful protest, and thus your comment does not apply. LMAO, what rock have you been living under? Cops have been doing that for months, since literally day one of the BLM protests. Well, where the fuck are you? Why would I risk my life for a group of criminals that have spent the last few decades trying to violate my Second Amendment rights? You can go fuck yourself. Instead you're too busy supporting a guy who has done more for gun control than Obama ever did and is openly doing the things the Second Amendment was created for. I don't ever want to see any kind of assault weapons ban, but the only good part about it would be seeing dipshits like you mentally struggle on what to do when the cops show up to take your guns. Just comply, bro. And you can keep playing tummy sticks with your ninja friend's pussy. Okay, idiot. I so happened to watch Starship Troopers tonight and was reminded of Rajkek's classroom lesson. The excerpt from the book is more eloquent. From Starship Troopers, 1959, by Robert A. Heinlein. Anyone who clings to the historically untrue and thoroughly immoral doctrine that violence never settles anything, I would advise to conjure up the ghosts of Napoleon Bonaparte and of the Duke of Wellington and let them debate it. The ghost of Hitler could referee, and the jury might well be the dodo, the great auk, and the passenger pigeon. Violence, naked force, has settled more issues in history than has any other factor, and the contrary opinion is wishful thinking at its worst. Breeds that forget this basic truth have always paid for it with their lives and freedoms. Lt. Col. Jean V. Dubois. Okay, but everyone understands that movie is a satire of fascism and its dependence on a culture of multi-generational violence. Right? Isn't this considered a Class D felony? Felony doesn't mean much anymore. In some countries, breaking into a woman's house and murdering her in the middle of the night would be a felony, but, according to the police force, things like that don't matter too much. Can we get a little info on the officers' backgrounds? Any outstanding arrest warrants or past felonies? There was probably weed in their pockets. No big deal, they were asking for it by not complying. You forgot a key phrase. I'm going to wait for the facts to come out before deciding how to react. Which we all know is never true. Guys, I'm starting to think these stories about the police killing unarmed black people and these stories about riots in the streets are somehow connected. It's almost as if the current government's consistent track record of ruling in favor of the police no matter how heinous the crime they commit is somehow the root cause of the riots. And therefore the people who claim to be preventing the riots are actually making them worse? On second thought, nah. It's definitely just evil Antifa witchcraft or something. Wanton endangerment. Surprised this isn't on the front page. 2 officers shot. With non-life-threatening injuries. 1 suspect in custody. I'll tell you what, no shit. A woman was murdered in her home. The person that murdered her was charged with 3 counts of wanton endangerment. Her life was given no value by that court or the police. The shooting could be unrelated to it though, as not enough info has been given yet. This is all so fucked. They charged him for the bullets that missed. We're living in a clown world. I said this earlier today that the charges put far more cops in danger. If law enforcement can murder people and get away with it, people will start shooting at them and putting their lives in danger the way they always claim to be. A woman is dead. Cops are being shot. America is burning. This is what happens when you kill with impunity. People feel they're going to die anyway, so might as well take someone else with them. Those in power have brought it upon themselves. If the rules don't apply to them, they don't apply to anyone. To think, this all could have been avoided had those murderous cops who killed Breonna Taylor not lied to get a no-knock warrant. I don't want anyone shot. I want justice, but yet again there is no justice, just us as victims. That sounds like wanton endangerment to me. Oh no, hope he didn't hit the car. That's property damage and the capitalist bosses will hang the guy for that. How is America still actually functioning? So many cities in unrest. Tons out of work. No stimuli. Wages are shit. Hospitals packed. Essential workers got fucked. The cops have lost their damn minds. Politicians are robbing everyone. The elite are doubling their wealth. Like holy shit, how has this held together? I am amazed we are still holding it together somehow. This is how natural death looks like. A creature can die in a slow and protracted way. Parts start to decay, even while other parts are alive and even possibly growing. But as more and more organs fail, as rot spread, eventually there will be systemic failure. Rest assured it's terminal. I am very concerned about the safety of our officers. If you're concerned about the cops, wait till you hear what they're doing to unarmed people across the country. How long until we find out they shot each other like that cop in Louisiana? Apparently he didn't hear the knocking. Something he was no angel. Look at his criminal record. We need more information. He had a weapon. Justice system is rigged to fail and the people with power don't want to change that, and this is the result. Right or left, I think we can all agree that shooting police officers is wrong and should be condemned. Horrific to see people cheering this on. That's not justice of any kind. What it will do is make the police react more militantly. Do you know how disappointing it would have been to the racists if tonight there had been zero violence but a huge protest turnout? If the news for days had been about how they were putting up barricades and preparing for violence and unrest, but in reality things were just calm and solemn, it would have broken their hearts because this is what they wanted. It was one person who acted bad, but now instead of a story of one bad actor, it's a story of days of preparation because they knew it was going to happen and then it did, and then these monstrous libs were cheering it on. Some Martin Luther King Jr. for you. Hate begets hate, violence begets violence, toughness begets a greater toughness. We must meet the forces of hate with the power of love. Our aim must never be to defeat or humiliate the white man, but to win his friendship and understanding. The ultimate weakness of violence is that it is a descending spiral begetting the very thing it seeks to destroy. Instead of diminishing evil, it multiplies it. Through violence you may murder the liar, but you cannot murder the lie, nor establish the truth. Through violence you may murder the hater, but you do not murder hate. In fact, violence merely increases hate. Returning violence for violence multiplies violence, adding deeper darkness to a night already devoid of stars. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. Did they think no justice no peace was a bluff? Yeah, actually they did. It's why they've been escalating, figuring people will back off and stay peaceful. It's like no one alive today was alive, or at least has watched a documentary on the LA riots. They dragged every white person in sight through the streets, naked, and beat them into pudding, lit them on fire, etc. Something to the tune of 840 structure fires simultaneously. This is little league in comparison, and no one seems to have learned a damn thing, both on the side of the cops, or the other side. People making jokes about this shit disgusts me. I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on, I don't care about race, gender, or anything else. If you support either BT or these officers getting shot, you might want to relearn what basic decency is. Does BT need justice? OFC, that's a dumb question. Mayor/police chief/judge are most at fault, but someone needs to be held accountable at this point. But in no way, shape, or form should it be okay to shoot 2 more people. Shooting more innocent people isn't going to help any stereotypes or narratives go away, and don't say all cops are bad. If you think there is a goddamn nationwide conspiracy that every cop in America is plotting to kill one innocent person, I'm pretty sure single-celled organisms like you belong in labs, not on Reddit. Holding cops to a high standard and respecting the job they have to can coexist. Sounds as if someone is guilty of wanton endangerment. Sounds like the shooter needs to get charged with wanton endangerment. He could have harmed other officers or protesters instead. This gang-on-gang violence needs to end. Serious question here: if the shooter is upset about the ruling and angry enough at the fact that the cops involved are getting off without a slap on the wrist to go shoot cops, then why not shoot those cops? They're the ones that did the shooting, killed her, and weren't punished. They're the ones that fucked everything up and caused this. They're the ones responsible. How exactly does shooting a pair of other cops punish the cops directly responsible for this? It just seems so asinine to get up the gumption and determination to shoot someone and then not shoot the people directly responsible. I am very concerned about the safety of our officers, Schroeder said. Bullshit. If you gave one shit about all of your officers, you would arrest and prosecute the 3 responsible for this whole fucking mess. You'd remove the rotten element and show the people you cared. If you had done that to begin with, none of your officers would be in danger now. But you didn't. You kept them on the force. You did not charge them. You let them continue to work and ignored the public outcry for months. You don't give a fuck about any of the people or the officers. You allowed the city to pay out $12 million, paid for with the taxes the same people pay, for 3 murderers to continue to walk free. If you cared about anyone, you would arrest and charge all 3 cops with murder tonight, and put an end to all of this. That's literally all it would take. but you're not going to, and you'll continue to show that you don't fucking care about anyone, cop or civilian. Can you please respond peacefully to our acts of violence against you? It's never going to end. As long as police can execute people for no reason, these are never going to end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and comment Reddit Story Time for more Reddit stories.